Tasha the Water Goddess says, welcome, enjoy the show.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do layers. I'm going to do my first layer is going to be one of these totes of compost. And then my second layer is going to be a mixture of my store-bought soil and products. And then my third layer would be the other tote. And then my last layer would be another mixture of soil. So before I start, I have this shade material here that I got from Lowe's. So I got a bunch of clamps because I only need this to be held up until it's filled. The soil will hold it up on its own. So I'm gonna clamp down on two sides. Again, this is just to hold it in place. Once we're done, we'll take these clamps off. So now that everything is laid out, I'll go ahead and throw my first layer in here. So now it's mixing time. I was gonna mix it on this tarp, but since this tote is empty now, and it's gonna be easier to throw it in there, I'm just gonna mix it inside this tote.
Add 1 cubic foot of Stay Green. Perlite.
Sprinkle a little bit of perlite, not all of it, maybe about a third.
Add 1 cubic foot of Miracle Grow.
This stuff really stinks.
Cow manure.
So if you're gonna use it, be prepared for that. It's literally what it's called. So we're not gonna put the whole thing in here. We're gonna do like maybe a quarter of a bag. It's probably a little bit more than a quarter, but all right. Now we're gonna get down in here and mix it around. It's not that deep, so I don't need to wear like elbow deep gloves. Oh yeah, that's ripe. That is nice and ripe. But that is also the smell of a future healthy tree. That is the smell of a future healthy tree. Now the reason why I did 1 bag for 1 and I didn't do 2 bags each is so it'd be easier to mix. The more you put in here, the harder for you to mix it. And we're not in a rush, so we're gonna take our time and do this right. If you really want to get more out of this, you can also put in extra things like bone meal, fish bone meal, kelp, things like that to give you extra nutrients. You know, you can throw old vegetables and fruits in here, things that's gonna break down and put nutrients back into your soil. So you can always add different things. You don't have to do what I do. This is just a decent cost way to do it and get it done. So now that I have all 3 of my ingredients mixed in, I'll go ahead and do this second layer. Now, go ahead and even that out. So thanks to me having the compost, I was able to half fill this huge wooden pot, and I only had to use 2 cubic feet of store-bought soil so far, and a little bit of perlite, and a quarter bag of black cow manure. And we're already halfway full, and we still have another tote here of compost. So hopefully we don't have to use no more than 2 or 3 more bags of our store-bought soil, and we can get this whole thing filled up. And that is the importance of keeping compost and not throwing out your old plants and your old soil and just throwing on top of each other somewhere in the corner and throwing nutrients over there, let it break down. And of course, in about a year or so, you'll be able to reuse that soil, just like this right here. So this is the tree that I want to plant here. So it's pretty much where I want it to be. So I'm going to take it out of this pot now and set it right in the middle so I can place the rest of the soil around it. So I'm just going to loosen up this soil. Loosen up this soil in this pot. And you can see the pot is starting to remove itself. Just like that. And now I can set that right in the middle. And you can see these roots. So I'm gonna unravel some of these roots at the bottom. That's very important. Definitely want to unravel some of these roots. You don't want to unravel it too much and tear the root system up, but you want to unravel it enough for it to make a difference. So now I take a little bit of my compost and just drop a small layer on each side. I'm gonna mix another bag. Another batch, I should say. So one of each bag and about a quarter of the cow manure. A little perlite. And then once again, hand mix it. You got runaway bags. Just go ahead and hand mix it. Mix it, mix it, mix it, mix it. Mix it, mix it, mix it, mix it. Now, go ahead and pour. So I'm pushing the compost out towards the edge because I'm seeing that I'm going to need maybe one more mixture to make this right. So I'm making like a little moat around this because this is the area that I want to fill in with my rich soil. So I'm pushing the compost more against the wall. And I want to fill this area right here in with some rich soil. So let's go ahead and mix one more. And then we'll use another quarter bag of the manure. Mix it. Mix it, mix it, mix it, mix it. Mix it, mix it, mix it, mix it. Got more runaway bags, but it's okay. Mix it, mix it, mix it, mix it. This is real easy work. Real easy work, guys. It may seem like a lot to do. It may seem like a lot to spend, but when it's all done and it looks good and it's the way you want it to be, it's well worth the money. It's well worth the time. It's well worth the effort. So this should be our last mixture. So let's go ahead and pour that in here. That's perfect right there. So the good thing about this is if we ever need to move it to another side of the yard, or if we need to get this on a trailer to move it to another location, it can be done. This will not root into the ground. And even if it does, it will be very, very tiny roots that will somehow find its way through the cracks of the 2x4s. So pretty much, this is what we wanted to accomplish here. This is a nice pot for this tree. This is a pot that won't fall over. This is a pot that won't blow over in the wind. And now that this is wooden, we can actually brace this tree without putting stakes into the ground. So I have these 4 posts sticking up through the sides. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie off from each post to the tree, maybe up to about here. That way it pulls in all 4 directions and this tree doesn't fall over. I'm pretty sure it's not going to go anywhere anyways, but just until the roots start to take and be able to enforce it more into this soil, I'm definitely going to make some kind of effort to hold these down. So yes, I'm going to tie these off. If anything, I might just tie off around this stake that's going up and down. That way I don't have to put stress on my plant. I might just tie off on the stake. So I'm going to put 1 screw each at an angle. That way, whatever I tie off on it doesn't come apart. So I decided to go with some wire and some zip ties. So this paper bean here actually comes in a little handy. I'm going to take the zip tie and I'm going to tie it off to the stake. But before I tighten it all the way, tie a piece of wire around it. Then I'm going to run that wire to my screw and wrap that around like so. And then we can cut that off. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other end. I'm going to put it through that zip tie. Wrap it around. Then wrap that around the screw. And this is the last corner here. So twist that around the zip tie. Now this isn't meant to withstand any crazy winds and hurricanes. This is just meant to keep this tree upright until it's able to grow roots into this soil and stand firm on its own. So with this wire here, that should hold it from moving in any crazy side to side vibrations. So it should be able to withstand some strong winds right now. This thing isn't going anywhere. This right here is very solid, and there's enough soil and nutrients to be able to feed an apple tree so that I can be able to get fruit. We're gonna take these clamps off. This is a good opportunity for me to mulch out the top of this raised pot. Once the straw mulch gets wet and acclimated, it won't blow away as much. It's blowing away a little bit right now. So we're gonna hose this down and let it get acclimated and settled in. And then we won't have to worry about it blowing away. I barely dented the bag. This was like a $32 bag off of Amazon, something like that, but I barely dented the bag. And this is what we got. Now you don't have to do this, but I just put some bricks down to hold these, the sides of cloth from flopping around. But as you can see, as this straw mulch is getting wet, it's settling in. All right, folks, so that's practically it. That's how you do it. That's how you make a raised pot for your tree. So stay tuned for the next video. We'll make a smaller one. It will cost less. You might like that one better because it'll be less spending. So stay tuned for that. We got one done.